Hi, I'm CJ Miller on location at the National Farm Machinery Show, Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm at the AgrAbility booth here at the trade show floor, and I'm with Ed Sheldon. He's with Purdue Extension, also Purdue and the Indiana AgrAbility program. And first of all, let's talk about Indiana AgrAbility and the National AgrAbility Project, which started with Purdue University 1979, Dr. Bill Field, and we're talking thousands upon thousands of folks who've been helped since the program first started back in 1979.
Yeah, over the course of the years, as you said, it started as a program in Indiana. We called it Breaking New Ground at the time in 1979, resulted from a phone call that ended up with Dr. Field through the extension channels, ended up with him in the Ag and Biological Engineering department from a farmer who had a spinal cord injury, wanted to get back on his combine. And the program's grown from there. For years we were known as the Breaking New Ground program there in Indiana. In 1990, we were fortunate to be put into the Farm Bill and became a national program, and that's where the term AgrAbility came about. We've, as AgrAbility, been in 35 years now, I guess, as a program nationally. Right now we have 21 state projects, which are all a collaboration of a state land grant institution and a nonprofit partner in those states. And then the National AgrAbility Project, which we host at Purdue. And our role at Purdue as the National AgrAbility Project is to support our state programs and also help provide one-on-one services to clientele in those states that don't have their own project. So we'll get calls from all across the country and even beyond at times as well. But we work, doesn't matter where somebody's from, we're going to find a way to get help to them, help, guidance, direction, and get them back to doing what they like to do.
And what AgrAbility does is farmers who have a disability, farmers who may have been injured on the job, farmers who perhaps are aging and let's say have the cartilage in your knees wears out over time.
Sure.
Let's say your back begins to hurt. You can't move around. You're not as agile at the age of 70 or 80 as you once were when you were 20 or 30. And AgrAbility helps get those farmers back in those tractors, those combines, back. It gets them back to work.
Absolutely. I like how you brought it. You bring up the point. We know we're in a dangerous industry with agriculture, and I think there is that impression that AgrAbility is here primarily to serve people that have been injured in farm incidents, and certainly we have a number of clientele who that is their situation. But really, the majority of our clientele have other conditions, maybe whether it's something like a heart condition or a diabetes. Maybe they were injured in a recreational incident. We see a lot of folks that have been in ATV incidents, that sort of thing. Aging. Mm-hmm. The average age of the farm operator in Indiana and across the country is about 57 or 58 years old. And that, as you mentioned, that brings on those problems. We slow down, we don't move like we used to. But farmers aren't very good at retiring either, so they want to keep going into their 70s, 80s, even beyond. We work with folks in their 90s, so that's what we're here to do, is whatever that individual's disability is, and we do work with a full range of, whether it's very visible things like a spinal cord injury where somebody uses a wheelchair to those things we can't see, but may have a huge impact on that individual's life and their ability to work and do what their goals tell them to do, or what they want to do in life.
And Ed, when folks come by the booth here at the National Farm Machinery Show, I know you have the John Deere lawn tractor on display, and you've got the chairlift, and I wish we could pan down and show that a little bit more. But what are some of the main questions that folks are asking as they visit the booth?
Well, what we're here really to public awareness. Let folks know that there is a program out there that works with farmers with disabilities and farm families. The typical question, or we'll get a lot of folks come up just aren't aware. We bring the lift as a really neat example of something that's out there, of an assistive technology device that a lot of people have no idea. Of course, it sits here in the lifts up in there. We run the lift up in the air, and people, what's that? And that gives us the opportunity to do a little education. A lot of folks, if they don't have somebody directly in their family impacted by a disability, maybe aren't aware of some of the issues and the challenges they might face. So really, we're just here to say, hey, this is a program that's out there. We end up having a lot of folks that, oh, well, my dad, or I've got a neighbor that could really maybe benefit from those services. That's what we're here for, to let people know.
Well, and I'll have you come back here. It seems like you stepped out of frame here.
Well, I was
Ed, if folks are curious about more information about AgrAbility, Indiana AgrAbility, or, to your point, if they would like to learn more about how you and your team can make a visit to their farm operation, make those adjustments, or let's say they would like to make a donation to Indiana AgrAbility to help further fund the efforts, the great work that you and Steve and Dr. Field are doing, how's the best way to get a hold of you and your team?
Probably the easiest way is to go to agrability.org, and that is actually the national site, or you can Google for Indiana AgrAbility. That'll take you to our statewide site. We also have a toll-free hotline number, 800-825-4264. Certainly can call that number. I answer that number, so if you call me today, I'll have to call you back. But certainly feel free to use that number or look us up online. We can also be contacted through email, through the website. The agrability.org site has a lot of success stories, testimonials on there. Really interesting to look through. Also, we have a ton of resources for different types of disability situations. And again, always feel free to call or send us an email. We'll be glad to help any way we can.
Once again, Ed Sheldon with Purdue Extension and the Indiana AgrAbility program. And Ed, thank you so much for your time here on Hoosier Ag Today.
Thank you.
And I'm C.J. Miller, on the road and on location from the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville, Kentucky for Hoosier Ag Today.